Hi, I'm Jim Knotts, President and CEO of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund. Welcome to today's virtual reading of the names. 2022 marks the 40th anniversary of the dedication of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. As part of our commemoration, we'll host an in-person reading of the names at the wall from November 7th through 10th, 2022, when all 58,281 names on the wall will be read aloud. In the lead up to that event, we'll be reading names each day online while sharing the photos of these heroes. For our daily virtual reading, the names of the service members will be read by month and day of death between the years 1956 and 1975 in alphabetical order for the given day. We apologize in advance for any mispronunciations. Know that our readers are doing their best to honor these service members. We hope you'll listen and watch each day and share with others as we remember and honor those who gave their lives during the Vietnam War.
Arnold Alvin Ades, Robert Albanese, Frank Ross Allender Jr., Douglas Ray Anderson, James Edward Andrews, Wilma J. Barr, Fred B. Beckerman Jr., Ronald Lee Bellinger, Philip Rex Bergfield, John Charles Belensky, Michael R. Blanchfield, Curtis Brockington, Christopher Eugene Brooks, David Lee Brooks, Richard Allen Brown, Gregorio C. Bustos, Henry John Caballero, Donald Dwayne Campbell, Tommy Joe Campbell, John William Carper Jr., Danny Arthur Carr, John Lewis Carter, Robert Philip Catling, Julius Collins Jr., Lawrence Nelson Coney, John Davies Cox Jr., Louis John Crosby, Stephen Howard Cuthbert, Raymond Coyle Daly, John Dudley Dahlhaus, Thomas Alphonse Davino, Charles Berlin Dedon, William Timothy Dorsey, Bruce Horace Eaton, Donald Lynn Evans, Roger William Farewell, Donald James Fawcett, Richard Wayne Felt, Daniel Lee Fields, Kenneth Edward Fisher, Timothy Matthew Flamer, Garland Dale Floyd, Michael Fleming Foland, John Laverne Forden, William Douglas Frakes, Robert Hugh Gage, Raymond Charles Garcia, Thomas Vance Hagmeyer, Jimmy Hankerson, Basil Lee Hereford, Jerry Arthur Harr, Stephen Carl Harrell, Yuri Lee Hatchett, James Harvey Hinson, Joseph Hodges, Robert Stanley Holy III, Billy Ray Holmes, Gary Dennis Holton, Alton House, Joseph Merle Houts, Hayes Howard III, Nelson Michael Hyler, Philip Thomas Ives, Joe Edward Johnson,
Marvin Ray Johnson, William D. Johnson, Jr., Joseph John Jones, William Albert June, William Allen Justice, Dwayne Richard Keel, James Edward Kelly, Richard John Key, Donnie Luster King, Robert Earl King, Ronald Eugene Knight, Frank Louis Kobar, Colin Edward Lamb, James Scott Langworthy, Herbert Lapp, Dillard Ray Lane, Robert Allen Layton, Jr., Abby Eugene Lazier, William Ewing Lewis, Robert Allen Lewis, Randall Blake Little, James M. Littler III, Raymond Sharp Loftus III, Edwin Joseph McNamara, John Sebastian Manfredini, Russell Clare Mann, Charles Anthony Maria, Terry Jack Martell, Roy Howard McLean, Raymond Lee McGarvey, William Grady Moncrief, William Charles Moon, Robert Joseph Morris, Thomas Nicholas Motto, Warren Moyer, Jr., David Bruce Nelson, Darrell Eugene Nichols, James Theodore Noss, Santos Silvas Nunez, James Edward Ollinger, Jr., Donald Wayne Olson, Jr., Barry Lee Osborne, John Wilson Owen, Nick Piniella, Jr., Anthony Earl Peterson, Lloyd Freeman Phillips, David Joseph Phillips, Jr., Harold Dean Philpott, Jerry Wayne Poff, Franklin Delano Ratliff, Harold B. Reed, Gerard Michael Regigo, Ralph Joseph Reno, Peter C. Reyes, Eric Ribitich, Christopher John Riciti, John Stephen Roeder, Willis Rogers, Jr., Donnie Howard Russell, Patrick Anthony Russell, Richard Saley, Jr., Terry Lee Sanders, Philippe Obed Santiago, Takeshi Sato,
Kenneth Lee Schaefer, Paul Scheckler, Robert Scott Shattig, Melvin John Schibel, Daniel Carl Schuster, Benny Ellis Seaborn, Leo Earl Seymour, Harold Ray Silvey, Fay Clyde Simmons III, Craig Lewis Smith, Richard G. Sonnenberger, Gilberto Soto Garcia, Harry John Stachny Jr., Boyd Adam Stevens Jr., David Ronald Stone, Thomas Alvin Strand, Jasper Dean Sturdivant, William Dwight Tamman, Bill Henry Terry Jr., Gary Dean Tisdall, Gary Preston Tomlinson, Robert Stephen Utecht, Frederick French Van Dusen, Sherman Dale Vance, Bernard Gordon Walensky, Clarence Walker, Ronald Keith Weister, Robert Leroy Welsh, Richard James Whitehouse, Philip Leonard Whitney, Terry Kenneth Wilkins, Stephen Gary Williams, Amos Laverne Williams, Rodney David Wilson, Glenn Roger Workman.